we should be able to see all the comments from Facebook Live on here, and as soon as I see them, I'll make sure that I send them over to you. But it's so lovely to have you here. And
thank you for inviting me.
Not at all. I'm so excited. Well, I normally start everything at 9:01. I've got a thing about 9:01. Not too sure why, but I just like to make sure that everybody's in the room.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm looking forward to everybody joining us.
Are you keeping well?
I am keeping well. I've had a very varied morning already. And I was quite interested in the times that I get up. And I was looking at, because when, you're a singer and as well. And I was looking at my timetable and I was noticing that when I'm singing on stage, I need to wake up at a particular time because obviously we finish later, like it's 10:30, 11. By the time we get home, it's midnight, midnight. And I was thinking, what can I do differently now that would serve me for when I'm on stage as well as when I'm, and I was trying to find a good balance. But then I thought to myself, if I change it, other than when I'm on stage, that time level, then I don't get those 4 a.m. and 5 a.m. nuggets of gold where I get my most inspiration. Like, what time do you normally like getting up in the morning?
About 8 o'clock.
Yeah, but that's fair enough. Everybody's different, I think. And on singing days, that's exactly the same as me as well. I have to get up, I get up quite late. I mean, on singing days, I think I don't get up until midnight.
Yeah. I've tried getting up early and doing like 5 a.m, 6 a.m.
Yeah.
I am just become a terrible human being.
You're not a terrible human being. Don't you dare say that. You're wonderful.
With my husband and with my kids. And normally my husband does the baby in the mornings.
Yeah.
That's his like time. He's
Yeah.
really good at getting up in the morning. But I just can't nap. I don't like napping. So I need a good 8 hours sleep, otherwise I'm dreadful. So yeah, I'll keep experimenting with it, but
I think 8 hours sleep is really good. I mean, that's really, 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 really important.
Yeah.
I'm a, as you know, I'm a certified high performance coach, and the master coach Brendan Burchard always teaches that we must have our 8 hours sleep in order for all the neurons and all our nervous system to get all what we need.
Yeah.
That 8 hours sleep is, so it's not a surprise that you need 8 hours sleep, especially somebody as intelligent as you as well. Your brain works on hyperspeed,
That's 100% what it is. My massive brain that needs my husband's just as, if not more intelligent than me, so I don't survive on like 4 hours.
So we're just going to give it one more minute and then we will start.
9:01 magic.
9:01 magic.
Am I straight? I feel like I'm a bit wonky.
No, you are. You're all good.
A bit drunk that way.
Yeah. Good morning, Martin. Good morning, Ricardo. Good morning. Lovely to see you. Really lovely to see you all. So we have people ready. It's 9:01. Yay! I've got this thing about 9:01. So, hi, good morning. This is Nadine Benjamin, the intuitive Verdi Soprano. I am a certified high performance coach and a certified mind coach. And I'm also a theta healer. And on top of that, I'm a professional opera singer who travels all around the world singing. And I thought, because I am on housebound 12 weeks in my house, that I would spend some time sharing tips and tools for mental health, keeping yourself going, and also sharing my plethora of wonderful human beings that I know who are also serving in the world at this point in time. Now, I would love to introduce you to Rhiannon Llewellyn. Oh! Thank you so much for being here, Rhiannon.
Thank you for inviting.
Rhiannon is also a professional opera singer. She's also she's a mother and she's a vicar's wife. And she's also turned this newly finance guru. I mean, I've just loved watching how she's grown, and I couldn't resist her coming to share some stuff with you this morning. So as I say every morning, I am not a doctor, I'm not a psychotherapist, I'm not a coach, and nor is I am a coach, sorry, I'm not a psychotherapist, I'm not a doctor. But nor is Rhiannon, and Rhiannon is also not a finance person either.
Yeah. I am not an accountant. I am not a financial advisor. I am just a ranty woman on the internet that happens to have learned a lot about personal finance.
So what we're doing is basing our experience to help support you. And please, if you need anything like that, please go and seek it directly. So let's start. Oh, Rhiannon, so tell us about you. I mean, I found your story fascinating around money, especially as money can be such a taboo subject. Tell us about you. We really would love to hear.
So my name's Rhiannon. I am 31 years old. I live in southwest London, in Putney. And I have had quite a nomadic upbringing. I lived all over the world when I was growing up. I think I went to 6 different secondary schools, so I'm sort of used to a lot of change. And I found myself, I was at the Royal Academy I think I was doing my masters, and I met my now husband, who's called true story. His name is actually Brutus. It's off. It's a strange name. And he happened to be a priest. And I am not a particularly religious person, so that is not someone I sort of sought out to marry. But I met the man of my dreams, and I proposed to him with a chorus of 30 opera singers. And now I find myself with this sort of second hat of vicar's wife, which is this sort of strange. People tend to have a lot of expectations of you, but it's not a paid role, nor are you officially interviewed for it. Your partner's job interview. And I did. So I remember I was doing a concert in Malta the night before my husband's job interview for his current post. And he was in the army before then. So we'd been moving around Europe with the army. I was also 6 months pregnant. I did this concert on Valletta in Malta and then got on a plane, I think at 4 a.m. the next day, after being up until 2 a.m. doing this concert, because of course everything Mediterranean night started later and later and later. And went to the job interview. Anyway, but personal finance wise, when I left music college, so I did a 4-year undergraduate at the Royal Welsh, 2-year master at the Academy, then 2 years of opera school at the Academy.
Yeah.
So I had a very sort of traditional musical lineage, I guess.
Yeah.
Anything particularly inventive or imaginative about it. I did the courses in the order that I was meant to do them in. But when we got married, I got married the summer I left college. Again, things I never thought I'd say about myself. And we'd actually bought a car. My husband was on a good salary. He was on about 48 grand a year with the British Army. He's also 10 years older than me, so bear that in mind.
Yeah.
So he was on a good salary, and we decided we're going to buy a new car because we were driving to and from Germany a lot. We were planning on dogs and babies and all those sort of like great things. So we thought, we need a decent sized car to do this travel. And we took on about 23 grand worth of debt in this car. Payments were about £450 a month. And then this sofa that I'm actually sitting on, we had the money saved for it at the time.
Yeah.
But decided to buy it on 0% free credit. And this is ridiculous. It's one of, I will always have to keep it because it's one of my like financial regrets. Pounds on a sofa, which is just ridiculous.
How much did you say you spent on a sofa?
£3,000.
Oh my goodness!
How much I earned that year?
No, tell me.
I earned £7,000. Was that my first year of college? I was quite soon out of college, and I had a decent amount of work coming in actually, but I was travelling so much. My expenses were just so, because I was going from Germany sort of to and from every week, and it just mounted up and mounted up. So I was making barely any money.
Yeah.
But then I started looking at, I was in the chorus at Glyndebourne, and I was looking around at lots of my friends, and of course in the classical music industry, obviously this doesn't go for everyone, but there is a tendency towards maybe people who have some more family money, maybe.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
There's a higher percentage than probably the normal.
I am not one of those.
No, that's why I'm like, not everyone. So, so that was. But I noticed that people were buying their own houses. I was like, how are they buying houses? I can't buy a toothbrush without having to be like, can I actually buy this on my debit card? Is it going to get refused? And I just thought that's how everyone was living. And I would play cash point chicken and go to different cash points and see if I could trick them into giving me 50 quid before they realised I was at the end of my overdraft. And I sort of came across, I started reading this book called The Money Book by Joseph Dagnese and Denise Kiernan. It's very American, but it's talking about self-employed financial management, which makes it sound really dry. It's actually quite an accessible book. I really recommend people looking it up. But from there, I kind of saw how, if I managed my money as a self-employed person with a very varied income, how I could start paying off my debt, how debt was eating all of my, not all of my joy, but all of my stability. And how if I paid it off and if I managed my money better, I had way more freedom. And since then, I've just become obsessed is the wrong word. Or maybe it's the right word.
I think it's the right word.
I think it's the right word. I'm obsessed by it now. And I'm not obsessed with money.
I know that. Yeah.
I still don't earn a huge amount of money. The opera companies I tend to work for I'm doing covers for bigger companies, or I'm doing leading roles for sort of smaller fringe things. So I'm really not rolling in it. I also teach and have discovered that I love teaching, and I've got a really successful teaching studio. But
so would I be right in saying that you're obsessed with the management of money?
Exactly. And it's the behaviour around money.
Yes, exactly. Come on, I'm all about behaviour.
We all have so much baggage around it.
Yes.
Because we all experience scarcity in some way, shape or form. And even if we've grown up with a really wealthy family and just, I need new football boots, have all the money, little Johnny, even that will impact our behaviour later. Because if we have that same amount of money and our behaviour is that money is always, it's funny because I know you talk a lot about abundance, and I always a bit abundance with money, because I think it's abundant out there, but it's not necessarily abundant in your bank account right now. So there's this sort of fine balance to be garnered between this abundant mindset with how much I can earn and how much I can bring into my life. But it's funny, I almost want to promote a scarcity mindset with that which we have.
But just to clarify that, Rhiannon, when I talk about abundance, I'm talking about your inner abundance and how you fill yourself up. Part of filling yourself up in that level of inner abundance is how you fill yourself up with knowledge. And that's what you're talking about. So you do have a sense of abundance. That is what you're talking about. You're talking about that rather than ignorance, which is not abundance, you're doing the opposite of ignorance, which is study and knowledge. You're finding out how to better serve yourself so you can better be in the world. And that's the abundance that I'm talking about. So I just want to clarify that. Yeah.
Super. I think some people don't quite realise that, and they think they put out, which we should be generous, and that's 100% something I would teach, but I think it has to have a percentage.
Yes, absolutely. So what was one of the first things, like how much debt were you in, or do you want to say? You don't have to say.
No, I think it's really helpful people being more honest about it. So funnily enough, I never actually totted it up because I didn't realise that I was going to go on this journey, but I think it was about £30,000.
Right.
A car on finance, a sofa, and various credit cards that we would sort of pay off every month, but would always end up £1,000 in the red by the end of the month. So we
were living paycheck to paycheck, really, weren't you?
Exactly.
So how did you?
So sorry.
No, we're having a lag, aren't we? We're having a slight lag. Bless you. I'm sorry. So how what was the first things that you started to do?
So the first thing, I decided that I needed to put, I was earning good money in Glyndebourne Chorus, my husband was earning good money in the army. I was also doing a small role at Glyndebourne, which was giving me extra money. Weirdly enough, the thing that got me the most money in Glyndebourne Chorus, I covered first bridesmaid in The Marriage of Figaro. Would not be the most lucrative thing in the world, but I was required to go to so many rehearsals because they decided the first and second bridesmaid were going to be in every single scene.
Yeah.
So much money in overtime. I made more money doing that than actually singing the role I was singing. It was amazing. I got so many like extra payments for doing over 7 days and that sort of thing. Anyway, just an observation. So it's funny, isn't it? Sometimes we shouldn't look these little things in the mouth. So what was I saying? So
what was the first thing you started doing?
First thing I wanted to do was, I knew that my husband, when he left the army, was going to take a 50% pay cut.
Yeah.
My husband's salary has gone from 48,000 to about 27,000 a year, which obviously is still great because we get a free house. So in a lot of ways, we are really sitting pretty. Equally, we're not millionaires, and I knew that when my husband got to retirement age, he would no longer have a property. So in the Church of England, they do help you out with a pension. It's not a particularly generous pension, not compared to the army at least. And when you leave, you've got to live in your own home, or else you have to live in what's called a house for duty, which means that you're doing the odd service and you're sort of caretaking the church. And I really didn't want to have to do that. I thought, if we choose to do that when we're retired, then we can choose to do that. But also remembering that I'm 10 years younger, I didn't want to have to be a church caretaker in my 50s. Not something I wanted. So for me, it was prioritising saving for a house. So I sat my husband down and I said, I think we could save £1,000 a month to go towards a house deposit. And he went, absolutely not. And he went away and he said, I think we should save £50 a month. Now, my husband is Oxbridge educated and has a PhD. Now, let's do the maths on how long it would take to get the average house deposit for a flat in London. Well, £50 a month would be £600 a year. I don't think we need to dwell too long on that maths.
Yeah,
it'd take forever, and it's just like we'd be retired by the time we had the smallest deposit. So we sort of settled on a number. I think it was about maybe £400 a month, and we were really going to sort of save hard into that. And then I discovered the percentage system. So, because it is difficult being a singer, sometimes you'll find yourself in January quite often and you don't earn a penny, or you just have one concert that pays or something. But then in December, you earn, 20% of what you're going to earn for the year because you've got all these things coming up. So how do we sort of level that out throughout the year? And I read in this book, The Money Book, and it's something that I definitely sort of teach and advocate now, this idea of looking at each block of money that comes in percentage, putting maybe 20 to 30% away for tax, then putting maybe 10% towards career development. So if you just want to go to, I don't know, Outer Mongolia and do a masterclass in flamenco dancing, if you think that's going to help you as an artist, then you can put the money towards that when you have it set up. And then putting money aside for our expenses as an artist, anything from scores, ball gowns, train tickets, whatever we need, and then the rest is our take-home pay. I think for me what's really important is to separate out the money that we receive into our bank account as an artist and as a business person, because even as artists, we have to remember that we are running a business, because it's business that our bills, which is 100% something that you would teach. So to separate that out, so to deal with the business separately, because it's very easy when you do a concert, someone gives you £500, you say, oh, thanks, I've got 500 quid. And then you go, buy yourself a nice pair of shoes and go out for cocktails with the girls. And then at the end of the month, you're like, oh, how am I paying my gas and electric? Why do I have no money? And then it creates this thing which I lived for years. I've always earned, and actually I've always earned quite good money. Even as a student, I earned great money. I had good jobs. As an undergraduate, I had a really good job in a theatre. I was a receptionist, and I was earning above minimum wage, which I thought was great. Doing something I loved, working on the desk like at WNO and stuff in Cardiff. I was so lucky. So I always had money, but at the end of the month, I was back in my overdraft. and it was because of mismanagement. It wasn't. I didn't have an income problem. I had a money management problem, and then things.
So can you just say that again? So you would put 20 to 30% away for tax.
Yeah.
And then you'd put 10% away for career development. Yeah. And then you'd put 10% away for learning. Was that?
Shall I tell you what I do personally?
Yeah, I'd love to. Well, everybody would love to hear what you do personally.
So this I would say would be very different for different people.
Yeah.
I get, because I've previously had tax fines for non-submission because I was an idiot and I didn't realise you had to submit even if you earned under boundary. So I had a £3,000 tax fine once. Yeah. Wonderful. So I put away 30% for tax because even though my average earnings are probably about 25 to 30 grand a year, I make sure that I've saved 30% because then that will cover any national insurance, student loan, anything that might pop up. I just feel more comfortable doing that. Other people will feel more comfortable with a lower amount. That's fine, but I get to pay myself a bonus. So 30% to tax.
Oh, and that's that 30% to tax from every bit of pay that you get?
Yes, from everything that comes into my account.
Okay. Great.
And I realise that will give me a cushion at the end of the year. But then I can take that and use it to go towards a holiday. I'm still saving towards a house, so I could put it in that. It's a little bonus at the end of the year, but at least then I've got all year round, I think, wow, I'm safe. I know what I'm doing. So I put 30% to tax.
Yeah.
Personally, I put 5% away to career long-term goals if there was anything that I really wanted to do. At the moment, there's nothing specific I'm saving up for. Then I put 20%, currently, this is my number, it goes up and down, but 20% into my expenses. So if that's singing lessons, if it's getting my ball gown dry cleaned, if it's buying a new score. Obviously, if you've got something like a big role coming up or something and you need more coaching, I can wiggle that the month before and decide to put more into it. But that's how much I put in. I'll go into that in a bit later. So 30%, 5%, 20%. And then the rest I put into my current account as my salary.
So that's 45% is your salary?
Yes. Okay. That's my take-home pay.
So 45%. So if you earn £500 for that particular job, you've got 45% of that to live on.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Carry on.
So what I was going to say about the 20% for expenses, one of the things I found myself doing, especially if I was really working towards something, or sometimes you get to a point in your career where you're a bit frustrated. It's happened to us all, and we think, oh, I really want this. If I have these lessons or go and study with this person, is this going to help? And I would keep pouring money into something that without a cap on it.
Yeah.
And whilst my singing career is very important, I also have personal goals that I want, financial goals that I want to fulfill. Yeah. I want to help my son go to university. I want to be able to send him to ballet classes and rugby camp and didgeridoo lessons if that's what he wants to do. That's really important to me. I do want to buy a house and have stability in my life. I want to own 2 greyhounds one day instead of 1. So I realised that I was sometimes throwing this money into my career and neglecting my personal financial goals. Yeah. Putting a number on it. Number 1, it means that I've got that permission to spend. So if actually I've only been for 1 singing lesson, I've got £200, say, sitting in the account, I've been for a singing lesson, I've bought a score, and then I'm like, oh, I've got money left over. Then I can either decide to roll that on to the next month, or I can say, do you know what? I'm going to phone a French coach and I'm going to have French coaching and learn this piece I really want to learn. So it also gives you that permission to spend, because you don't think, oh, am I going to be able to pay my gas bill? Am I going to be able to pay this, that, the next thing? I don't have that. I don't have that worry.
That's really interesting, Rhiannon. Yeah, it's really interesting because I've been talking to everybody for the last 2 weeks about scheduling their time.
Yes.
Because we don't manage time, we manage activities. Yeah. And so it's the same thing that you're saying now. You're talking, what I perceive as, my perception is, that's empowerment. So even if you decide to schedule your time and you say, I'm going to spend that whole day sleeping, but you've made a conscious choice in your schedule that you are sleeping, that is putting you back in the driving seat. And I love that, Rhiannon. So that's the same ethos of what you're talking about. Thank you.
So, and it goes into your, that's exactly it. So it is, for me, I'm someone who is a natural spender. I'm not a natural saver. I see it, I want it now. I want to save for it. I don't, whatever. So I found in my personal spending, so I'm lucky because my husband has a regular salary that comes in. It's pretty much a month. Mine goes up and down. So actually now what I do is I pay myself in arrears. So actually, if my income is massively varying, I can make sure that actually I'm kind of having the same take-home pay each month.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, so that's.
So how do you sort that out? Like making sure that you have the same take-home pay?
I mean, honestly, the way I did that was I just tried to. I did no spend months.
Okay.
I had months where we say we're not going to spend a penny that's not 100% necessary. And it sounds really controlling and really awful and miserable, but when you start gamifying it, because you say
I love it, gamifying.
Yeah. So I do kitchen cupboards, and I am fortunate that I've never been in a situation in my adult life where I've really worried about buying food. I realise that's not everyone's experience, but
I have, so I understand that.
Yeah. So I always look in the cupboards and there is something to eat, even a slightly mouldy lettuce and a bag of barley. There's something. So I do this thing called shelf timber. So I'd look on my shelves and I'd be like, how little do I think I can spend on groceries this month? And I'd say, right, I'm going to spend 50 quid for, this was for, for 2 adults and a baby or something. And then I'd go with I'd have my little cash envelope. £12 for the week to buy fresh groceries. And I've got a fridge and freezer full of food. I have food. Most of us have got food. So how can I meal plan from what I have and make sure my family eats well? We really we're a vegetarian family. And so most of what we eat are vegetables and beans and pulses and that sort of thing. But actually, I think we're very used to nowadays of, what do I fancy for dinner? I'm going to make a beautiful Thai curry. And then we go to the shop and spend £15 on the ingredients for a Thai curry. But actually, when we gamify it, we think, dum, 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 what's in my kitchen cupboards today? Like, I've got some red kidney beans, and I've got a red pepper and some halloumi. What am I going to make from that? I'm going to make some sort of weird hybrid salad thing, and I'm going to spend 50p on some yellow sticker reduced Tesco lettuce. And that's what dinner's going to be that day.
So it's about really thinking and planning. Again, we're coming back to planning, aren't we? We're coming back to management of how our meals are done.
Of our resources. And so a lot of time people say to me, it's very difficult, or I don't think I can do that. But I think, like anything, if you were having, for instance, I know, Nadine, you're doing a bit of declutter in your flat at the moment. So you can't, I mean, you can, and one does, but we must, don't look at the big picture.
No.
Look at the small things. So that start with your sock drawer. So choose one thing that month that you're going to work on. And when you choose one thing and one thing and one thing, in the same way that we're reducing our waste, we're working towards being a zero waste household, we eliminate one thing, one thing, one thing. And now I find it really weird, for instance, that not everyone just makes their cleaning products. And it honestly, because it's such a habit, it takes me 30 seconds to make up a bottle of like kitchen cleaner. Perfectly clean. And it costs me about 5p. Whereas the process I go through to make that, I would describe to someone and they would say, you make your own. I mean, I haven't got time to do that. And I, well, if my time is money and money is time, and actually I can save this a huge amount of time and money by doing this, then why wouldn't I? So it's,
we'll do a whole other show on that kind of stuff. But we haven't got that much time left now. So
sorry, I'm talking.
No, you've been wonderful and it's great. And I hope that people have really got some joy out of this morning as well as a bit. But I want you to, what are 3 to 5 things that you could say to people that they could take away with them today that they do in terms of their finances, especially the thing of when you said about getting out of debt, you know, what could they actually do to kind of help themselves and be more resourceful at this time? You know, like myself, you know, some people have had their work cancelled, or they're on furlough, or you know, there's different patterns that have emerged, and it's a new way of thinking. So what kind of suggestions would you give people?
So my first thing would say is to be really kind to yourself. Money problems bring up all sorts of anxiety and panic, and we can really operate from a place of lack and a fear. And that's where I operated from, and I understand that. And I'm feeling fear as well at the moment, even though, you know, we're lucky in that we've got savings, but my income has disappeared overnight. I've got a baby that I'm trying to look after full time, so any other projects feel more difficult. It feels like getting through treacle, you know, but I'm getting. So that's the first thing I'd say. Second thing, you have to reduce your expenses.
Exactly, yeah.
Absolutely, 100%. So go around the house and with a piece of paper and point at things and figure out how much they cost you. TV, have you got Netflix at the moment? If it's the only thing keeping you sane at the moment, all right, that's $8.99 a month. But if you can cancel it and actually watch some terrestrial TV that you've got your license for anyway, and listen to the radio and some free podcasts, then cut it out. Because it's those really small things that cause them, oh, it's only £5, oh, it's only 10 quid. That is the death by 1,000 cuts. Look through at the things at your house, what's costing you money. For instance, I've got a milk delivery. I really don't want to lose my milk delivery because it's different. You can't get one if you cancel it now. But instead of having my milk delivered every day and having 3 or 4 pints delivered, I'm now only getting 1 pint delivered. So that was reducing our milk bill by about a quarter because it's so expensive. It's no longer a priority. So all those little things. There's no reason that you need to really buy anything off Amazon. Unless you are totally, I mean, if it's not food and you don't have any savings, you don't need it.
No.
I'm here to tell you, you don't need it. If you do you need it, wait 48 hours. Put it in the basket, wait 48 hours. And then ask, if I were there, would I tell you that you needed it?
So I've got a little funny story about that just now, before you get to your fourth and fifth thing. Is I haven't been wearing makeup for the last 2 weeks because I completely thought I'd run out of makeup. So, you know, and I had, you know, the ones that I use every day, and I was like, I'm not going to go to MAC and buy more makeup when I'm sitting in my house. But, you know, it would be nice to put it on, you know, because I do like putting it on. And anyway, as I'm decluttering, I went to my hair and makeup drawer, and what did I find?
500 quid.
Really nude. Makeup. So that is your point, in fact, is that we have everything we need around us. We really, really do. So come on, what would be the fourth and the fifth thing that you would advise?
Fourth, if you don't have a medical reason to be staying home right now, I'm not saying you have to, but I want you to strongly consider going to get a job. People are hiring, and I know this sounds really harsh, but I know a lot of people are claiming universal credit right now, and I totally support that. But have a think about it. Could you stack a shelf at Sainsbury's? Could you drive around on a scooter for Deliveroo? I'm not asking anyone to risk their health doing that, but I do want you to strongly, strongly consider it. Just because you have a glittering international opera career does not mean that you are above flipping burgers.
No, exactly. I've seen a lot of opera singers actually. They're working in Lidl, they're working in Tesco, they're working in Sainsbury's,
and claps.
That's doing NHS stuff, you know, who have gone back into the NHS. I've seen a lot of artists really step up in the way. So let's give them a hand.
Absolutely.
That's
it may be hard, you know, if you've got kids, absolutely it would be hard. If you're a single parent, it would be probably impossible. But I just want you to look into it and really think about if it might be possible for you to increase your income. And I don't say that lightly, and obviously take your personal circumstances into it. But
absolutely, and some people might like to do it for their state of mental well-being as well. You know, because some people that's important to them, and we still do need people to service the world. But I get you; I completely understand that, and let's put a caveat out to that, like myself, I can't leave the house. So, exactly. There's no point. So I have to look at other ways that I want to step up. Exactly. So, and this being one of them. Yeah. So it's not about having to do something, but if you can and you feel that is a right for you, then please do. Exactly. Okay, what would be the fifth thing?
The final thing I would say is have a think about how you can save your money, save yourself money tomorrow, or make yourself money tomorrow. So now is the time, if you do have time on your hands and you don't have kids running around, that you could make some online content that is going to create passive income in the future. You could also have a think about things like, I don't know, making Christmas presents. I'm sorry for
now it's true.
But have a think about it. Could you learn how to crochet and crochet Christmas coasters for the rest of the family, thereby saving yourself all that money when Christmas comes around, or Hanukkah or Eid or insert festival here? Have a think about that. I've been potting up rosemary plants from a bush of rosemary I've got at the front, because by Christmas they'll be lovely bushy plants and I can give them away as presents.
Yeah, and I think it's also good. One good thing that I've noticed, what would be quite good, is if we're in the house so much and we notice that there are things that we don't need, are there things that we could put on eBay
100%.
or sell? Because as we sit around our things for longer, we realise that we don't need half of it. It's only because we've become quite transitional in our homes that we don't recognise that, actually that's been sitting there for 10 years and actually somebody else would find it more useful and want to pay for it.
100%.
That's another great way of finding new income.
Yes, I do want you to sell so much stuff that the kids think they're next.
Exactly. Who says that? What's his name? Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey. That's it. He's a favourite of ours, isn't he? He's a favourite of ours, isn't he, Rhiannon? Dave Ramsey. No, it's really brilliant. You have been such a delight. You're just such a wonderful energy, a complete joy, and I've been lucky enough to be working with you, and it's really great to just see how you've blossomed and how you're really sharing some really amazing things with people. Please join Rhiannon Llewellyn. Tell them where they can find you, Rhiannon, because you've got the YouTube The Vicar's Wife's Frugal Life. That's it, isn't it?
I know. Up with a new name. So I'm mainly on Instagram. That's my big one, and it's the Vicar's Wife's Frugal Life. The Vicar's Wife's Frugal Life.
That's it.
And I'm also on YouTube, Vicar's Wife's Frugal Life. Facebook, The Vicar's Wife's Frugal Life. And then on Twitter, I am at VWFL88. Whatever.
Oh, yeah. No, do go and watch her videos, because her videos are amazing. I've done my best to share them everywhere because they are really helping people in this situation at the moment. The way Rhiannon delivers things, as you can see, it just makes it easier for it to come inside, and so you can actually think about it, have some fun with it. As Rhiannon says, gamify. Better than exactly. Oh my God, that's so going to be a thing. Gamify. And thank you everybody. I can see some names like Susan and Chica and Louise and Rebecca and Corinne. Thank you so much, for all. Lena, thank you so much for being here with us all. Uma, I can't see who else is there. Arshak, Dingle, Melanie, Martin, Ricardo. Thank you all, and anybody else that watches this afterwards. It's been such a pleasure to have you all here. Rhiannon, you are a joy. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any parting words?
Be kind to yourself, but
do See you later. Take care now, everybody. Let's give them a wave. See you later. Bye.